Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday. My brain is mush right now. Season change, all that good stuff. Uh, Shortening days, yada, yada, yada. But I'm going to try to talk about something that this isn't feedback from the video yesterday about the Animal Crossing nonsense, but it is a response to something someone sent me as follow up in that this stupid cartoon hair controversy is still going on in terms of it's not an issue that's being debated right now. The people involved are still attacking each other on social media. And this is another thing. There are underlying issues here that need to be talked about. So if you like this sort of content, help support this channel, become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK. One of the things I have noticed in social media fights regarding video games is that there is an ongoing trend that everyone thinks it's the other side's responsibility 100% to fix it. So people get wounded. They don't attempt to see the other side. They don't attempt to recognize, gee, this was about video games. I didn't need to pop off on this. It was an option. I made a choice. And it gets into this ridiculous pissing match of the only way this is going to end is if the other side does something. Which, of course, is a guarantee that it's not gonna end. Because the only way conflicts, go down in my world is if both sides decide to end the conflict. One person can apologize over and over and over again. If the other side doesn't drop it, well, then it's just an outright cut and dried case of bullying. But the conflict doesn't stop, especially on social media where everybody's got an opinion. And the reality is, and I know this is going to be unpopular for some people, I have never seen an apology stop a dog pile. It changes perhaps the nature of the dog pile, but more often than not, I actually see online apologies make the dog pile worse because now it's proof they were wrong. Which tells me that the dog pile in the first place was kind of in bad faith. It wasn't about a deep-seated, earnest caring about a given issue. It wasn't about, organic passion. It was about a desire to find a pretense to stomp someone flat online for, I don't know what, followers, attention, clicks, I don't know. But I've never seen an apology actually make things better in certain issues that are picked up by the media where there is legitimate reason to apologize. Yeah, I've seen that go away. But firsthand experience, I've apologized for things. It just made things worse. The only reason I apologize for anything is because I actually think I'm wrong. Never, ever, 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 ever apologize because you think it's going to make a dog pile stop. Never, ever, ever, ever apologize because you want a particular outcome. I think too many people avoid apologizing or delay apologizing because they're afraid the other person or the other group is going to respond poorly. That right there is a cop-out. If you really did something wrong, if somebody decides to yell at you a little bit more so that they feel better, that's part of the process. All the more reason not to apologize unless you've recognized you've done something wrong. Because the minute you start apologizing just to make the loud go away, they know you will. And you spend the rest of your life apologizing for nothing. And you actually, in my opinion, you actually slide further and further and further into bad behavior because you now have no internal moral compass. You only have what other people tell you is right and wrong, which means people can push you into these pack dynamics that mean, oh, this is the person that's on the chopping block this week. Get him, her, them, right? And the cycle continues. And I don't think these are bad people involved in these online fights. From the copious amount of direct messages that always get published in these slap fights, they seem like very pathetic people. And by that, I mean the meaner you are, the bigger a deal you make out to be some kind of angry online crap, the more pathetic you seem. The first few times it happens to you, it is terrifying. It's not necessarily because all of the comments are universally bad. It's that it's just loud and it's overwhelming, and it all seems like a ridiculous amount of angry typing over something that really isn't that important. And that's, I think, part of the reason why apologies don't get the desired result of making it stop. Because quite frankly, a massive internet dogpile over a cartoon hairstyle is not a proportionate response to begin with. So because it's not a proportionate response to begin with, doing something that would otherwise make sense is not going to make it stop, because internet dogpiles are inherently nonsensical. Now, I'm not a believer in just sticking to your guns on principle. Like, oh, you're not going to stop, and then people are just going to get mad at me, so I'm not going to apologize when I'm wrong. If you're wrong, you should apologize. I believe that. In part because it shows that you're mature enough to do it when you think it's warranted. Long term, people will gain respect for you when they see that you have the capacity to do that. It doesn't make everything go away. And what is disturbing to me is, and I'm being very cautious about this because I know I'm going to take some shit for it. I don't terribly care. If you've been following along to this point, you'll recognize I don't terribly care if people angry typing at me on the internet. It really seems to me like the principles in this and many other online slap fights profoundly lack social skills, including conflict resolution skills. Now, some people involved are self-aware enough to admit this, that they're not good at these sort of things. That, to me, shows more of a mark of maturity than the people who are going, you have to do this and you have to do that. No, I'm not reading it because, in my opinion, it was a bunch of gaslighting bullying. Okay? But not being good at something only gets you so far. And this is you're not allowed to use gendered behavior anymore in certain spaces, but I'm going to anyway here because it is a learned behavior in this case. We know that people who identify as female tend to see themselves as innately flawed or innately good at something, whereas people who identify as male are more likely to go, oh, I did this good thing or I did this bad thing, but they don't summarize themselves in an entirety as a person because of a one action or a handful of actions. It's something I cannot stand about feminized interactions. As I'm a bad person. I got an aversion to that at a really early age. I cannot stand it. It immediately makes me shut down. In some cases, it's a marker of abuse. The problem is it's also the marker that someone has been abused. And so I don't like isolating individual behaviors and saying, well, that's abusive, unless I'm really clear on context. But some people do it as a control thing. Oh, if I grovel, if I weep and gnash my teeth, then you can't be mad at me. That's trying to control somebody. That's not cool. Um, the the other sorry, but it also can be behavior that an abuser demanded from the person who did this, and so now it's ingrained. In some cases, the only thing that stops emotional and sometimes physical abuse is if a person, tearfully exclaims that they're a terrible person and they need the abuser's help, right? They need the abuser to fix them. And you see a lot of those dynamics in these online slap fights. And even though the topic that sparks the whole thing off is not terribly serious or not serious at all, that dynamic is really disturbing. And the problem with these online things is there's no one who can intervene and get involved and go, okay, that exchange there, that's not cool. And let me tell you why. Of course, no one can intervene that way because the person doing it is absolutely not going to listen. There's a marker of these online fights that I see, and I find it bleakly ironic that the people who think it's okay to dogpile someone and speak in the royal we on social justice issues when they're not really advocating for a cause. They're not trying to inform someone or educate them. They're trying to attack and show their superiority. I mean, that bleeds through with this stuff. But what I find so ironic, and I would find it amusing if it wasn't so damaging, that they have no problem calling someone a very bad thing, right? Calling someone a racist, not this comment you made was racially insensitive, but you are a racist. That is a bad thing to call someone, right? There are serious consequences for getting branded as that. Some people in the 7th grade decided I was a racist for things one of my parents did. And I was, I had to watch my ass duck out of getting my ass kicked for 2 straight weeks after that. This stuff's serious. Granted, I went to kind of a rough school, but still, there are serious social consequences for branding people these things instead of focusing on the behaviors, right? Now, does that mean that that racists don't exist, that racist people don't exist? Oh, they're out there. You need more than a handful of things that are likely done out of no ill will, likely bad stuff in terms of family of origin behaviors, but people don't know what it does. And so there's no negative intent behind it. And so all you have to do is explain calmly, gently, why people would take offense to this, and that will get you a better response than telling someone they're terrible and creating this whole shitstorm and publicly shaming and all this stuff. Now, the interesting thing in this Animal Crossing debacle, like I said, is that the shoe ended up on the other foot, and the original accusers got accused of bad stuff, in this case, notably pedophilia. And they were outraged and horribly offended and very aware of the consequences of being labeled a pedophile. Now, that's another thing that's thrown around way too much online. Like way, way, way too much. But still, structurally, it's the same thing. It's, you replace the very bad thing that gets you ostracized and possibly, physically harmed, but it's the same thing. And again, it's only an issue if it's not true, but you have to provide evidence of that. And the thing I find interesting about the original accusations with this Animal Crossing thing is that, and I'm deliberately not using the people's names because I want to talk about the issue, not the people. The people seem profoundly overwhelmed, and that's why. People accuse me in these things of being too vague. I do that out of concern for the mental health of people involved. These are issues. Like I said, this is not the first and only time something like this is going to happen. It's not going to be the last time. And what I find so significant is how similar these altercations are. I firmly believe, and this is my hot take thing, okay? I firmly believe that when you go at someone hard like that, when you take it as this is bad, take it down. You're terrible. You're a monster. Exaggeration for comedic effect. The minute you go there, you lose the right to complain when that bazooka, verbally or text, gets turned around on you and you get treated with the exact same treatment. And this is the thing at the heart of the culture war. I do not understand. I never will understand. And I think it's a race to the bottom. That the people that howl the loudest about mistreatment and false accusations and, bad faith and performative outrage and all this other stuff, they do it just as much, if not more, right? Like, I see people howling one week against somebody and then they're howling the next week because the exact same treatment got focused on them. And this is why I don't do that. Also, because, fun fact, certain people abuse the reporting system on YouTube if I so much as mention an individual, except Anita Sarkeesian. And either YouTube is ignoring criticism of Anita Sarkeesian, or her people actually don't report on those grounds. So I don't know which it is, but that doesn't mean I'm going to criticize Anita Sarkeesian because I can. In fact, I think this is an important thing about my thinking processes and why I'm like, this is all stupid. I am actually more cautious about criticizing her because there's sort of an open season in that regard. I really have to think that something she said is damaging before I will take it on, instead of just dumb. Like, people have the right to be dumb, okay? Free speech applies. I don't have an issue with dumb. I have an issue with people who are bullying, who are using their platforms to just throw around their will or test your might, back when Mortal Kombat was good. But, to do that instead of actually just deal with issues. I'm a big believer in that, what is it? Small minds address people. I don't know, there's a whole thing, but basically it's intellectually superior to address ideas instead of addressing people. Unfortunately, YouTube's algorithm makes your video do better if you attack a person as opposed to approaching an idea. So what I try to do is take an issue people care about and will want to click on, and use it to address these ideas. And this is the idea here. This is the TLDR of this video. The minute you engage in performative outrage or public shaming of people, don't come to me when it happens to you too. It's not that I think it's okay. It's not that I think it's okay when we do it. It wasn't okay when you did it, but you justified it. And this is the royal we to anybody who has done this, to anybody who has just knowingly joined in a dog pile and just decided to rip and tear until it is done on someone, you want that, go play Doom. That's what the game's for. This is why video games are good. It's an outlet. It is a safe, healthy outlet for those aggressive tendencies that most of us have. I have that. I can do that. I don't have to attack people online out of some wayward belief that this is somehow gonna make me and people like me safer. It's not. It's not gonna make things any better. What it does is causes you to lose the moral high ground so that when you're on the side that's gotten hurt, when you're on the side that's going, this is painful, please stop, people have reason to go, you didn't care when you did it to someone else. And so if you actually want a better experience online, if you actually want people to be able to go to bat for you when it does happen to you because you spend any time online, it's going to. The only way you create something, an environment like that, is if you don't take the bait when the bait is outrage. Now, I understand, to be clear, and I hate that I have to do all these, but this, item A, B, C, D, item 1, A, B, C, D, because somebody gets offended if I don't do all these things. I understand the desire to stick up for somebody you feel has been done dirty. Okay? I understand the human reaction when this Stardew Valley thing not Stardew Valley. Why do I keep saying so? Oh, because that's the username. The Animal Crossing thing happened, or the Mandalorian boob armor thing happened, or, people have the it's just human to go, what? That's dumb. There are ways of saying that's dumb and then going, the people doing this are evil. Now, in this particular case, it really seems like there are some seriously toxic people involved in this stuff. And so if any of them happens to see this video, because they all share this stuff, this is the crazy thing. I don't watch videos about myself, and I don't understand why people link me to them. Do you see what this person is saying about you? I don't care. I have a channel, I can talk. Other people have channels, they can talk. I don't care about the opinion of someone I don't know and who doesn't know me and is probably coming at something from a very biased framing because they're trying to curry favor with a bigger bully, right? I don't care what people say about me. I really don't, who don't know me. You guys, I care about. If you're a regular viewer, your opinion matters to me. Someone who don't know me, I don't give a shit. That's the adult response. But that's not the paradigm that these people are working on. That's not the level that these people are. So if any of you happen to be watching this video, okay, you want it to stop? You don't like what happened in this? There's 2 steps. Stop talking. Stop tweeting. Stop defending yourself. No, really, stop defending yourself. The people who think you're bad have a selfish reason for thinking you're bad because this shit doesn't matter. The people who think you're good already think you're good. You have people who agree with you. Take that, move on, okay? Stop it. Stop the noise. The only way it stops is when everyone stops. And if you stop and the other side keeps going, it becomes abundantly clear who's continuing the conflict. The other thing is learn from it. Learn from it if you don't like what you got called. The next time, don't go at another person so damn hard. Because let me tell you, as somebody who seems to live in a constant state of come at me, bro, the people I listen to are not the loudest people. The people I listen to are not the people with the largest followings. The people who I listen to are the people who speak from the heart, who speak for no one but themselves, and who make sense, who offer me a persuasive argument that I can follow. And the thing about these social justice posers on Twitter is they often do not have an argument you can follow. It's a bunch of noise and a bunch of catchphrases, but, you know, shining example. This is the point where I'm like, I don't play a lot of Animal Crossing because it eats my life. I think I'm going to play it over the holidays because I have time to just lose myself in Animal Crossing for a week. You know how excited I get? The names, there are no names for the hairstyles. It's just the hairstyle. So any argument that it's not called this, it's called that, you can't say that. There's no name. You called it that, which means somebody else can call it something else. That's how semiotics works, okay? A friend of mine who actually has degrees in the field is like, what's this mean? Peace sign, bunny ears, has a bunch of different meanings. Like, you do this is something different, like, symbols have different meanings to different people. And if something doesn't have a label on it, that's all it is, a symbol. So this Animal Crossing thing has just been a fight over semiotics, over people who probably don't know the word semiotics. And this is why I can't take the slap fight seriously. But the shit that is bubbled up from the deep stinking goo pits of the internet, we gotta address this. We gotta address this. The fundamental problem with these things in gaming spaces is a lack of conflict resolution skills. And people just being way too damn afraid. We got to identify the problem before we can solve the problem, right? If you like this sort of content, help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/LeannaK. Thanks for watching.